If you just started playing Rocket League or have been playing for a while without ever changing the settings, your game probably looks something like this. And Rocket League is a competitive game, so it's really important that we change some settings in order to play as well as possible, as the default settings are not very impressive. There's also some changes that should be made to the controller settings and video settings. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So here we are in free play. I'm going to show you what these settings mean and how they affect your gameplay. So first off, we have camera shake. Now this is probably the worst setting in the entire game, as it makes your screen shake whenever you try to do anything in the game, such as driving, boosting, scoring goals, touching the ball, or bumping people, or getting bumped. Yeah, you're just gonna get sick, so turn it off. For field of view, I recommend 110, as it controls the size of your field of vision. This is gonna make it a lot easier to see your teammates and whatever's going on the field. Distance controls how far away your car is from the screen. If you put this up too much, your car is going to become smaller and it's going to be harder to hit the ball. So you want to put it somewhere where the car isn't too far away and not too close to the camera either. So 270 is a pretty good setting. For the height setting, we want to put somewhere around 90, as putting this up too much will make it harder to hit the ball once again. The angle isn't too important, but personally I like to put it at -4 so I can see a little bit of what's going on behind the ball. Just make sure you don't put it all the way down, because then you won't see what's going on in the air. The stiffness setting may be a little bit confusing, but basically what it means is that whenever you accelerate, your camera won't follow you right away. It's going to have a slight delay. But if you put this all the way up to 1, you will remove all that delay and your camera settings will be locked to your car, making it a lot easier to do dribbles and using power slide. So I recommend putting this up to 1. The swivel speed controls how fast your camera reacts when using your right joystick to look around the field. Swivel speed can be really important in some situations, if you need to check for boost pads or know the positioning of your teammates and opponents. You could put this setting all the way up, but in my opinion it makes the screen move too fast and it may cause motion sickness, so I like to put it at 8. The transition speed controls how fast your camera switches between car cam and ball cam. I like to put this at 1 because it makes it easier to control the ball whenever you switch to car cam when you try to dribble the ball. The invert swivel setting makes it so that when you press down on your right analog stick, you're going to be looking up, and when you press up, you're going to be looking down. If you're used to this from other games, then you should leave it on, but if not, then you can always turn it off. Moving on to controls. The steering and aerial sensitivity controls the joystick's sensitivity. So the steering sensitivity is for when you're on the ground, and aerial is whenever you're in the air. So I recommend putting those at the same value. If you have issues with a drifting controller, where your car starts moving to the left or right without actually touching the controller, then you should put your controller dead zone up. A lot of times when playing Rocket League, you're going to feel that you are dodging when you actually want to double jump, or you're double jumping when you actually want to dodge. So if that's the case, you could look at the dodge dead zone setting. So if you're dodging a lot when you don't want to, try putting this up. And if you're double jumping a lot more than you want to, then put it down. If you don't want to get distracted by controller vibration, then turn it off. The rest of these settings can be left at default. Now let's take a look at the bindings. There's no real answer to what the best bindings are in this game, because a lot of the professional players, they use a lot of different keybinds. I'll put a link in the description so you can see what some professional players use. But you're gonna have to play around with this yourself in free play and find out what works best for you. But there are some keys that you have to be able to press all at once in order to do higher level mechanics that we'll learn later. The first combination that you need to be able to do is jump, boost, and air roll. The second is jump, boost, and drift. So on my Xbox controller, I'm using A as jump, B as boost, and preferably I'd use air roll on L1 and also drift on L1. But I'm using a scuffed controller, so I actually have air roll binded to X, and I can use air roll by pressing underneath the controller on left side. Finally, moving on to video settings. Here I recommend turning off vertical sync, turning off anti-aliasing, and put render quality to high quality. After that, it really depends on your computer, but for maximum performance, I like to put everything, or texture details, on high performance, world detail and particle detail on performance, and then I turn everything off except for transparent goalposts. because this allows you to see through the goalpost. If you're standing in net and the ball is coming above you or on the sides, you can actually see the ball through the goalpost. So turn this on. So that's about it for the important settings in Rocket League. If you're new to the game and you just set your settings, I highly recommend to do the tutorials. And that concludes the first episode. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next episode of Beginner to Winner.